loh. Dan
Cek satu. Cek satu. Baik, selamat siang Bapak Ibu semuanya. Terima kasih atas kehadirannya di concurrent meeting pada siang hari ini yang diselenggarakan oleh Kementerian SDM terkait dengan CCS ya terkait hari ini. Baik di sebelah saya nanti sudah ada Pak Firdaus. Ini perkenalan Pak Firdaus. Saya sendiri Dwi, saya mau Pak menyampaikan. Kami dari Direktorat dari Dirjen Migas, saya sendiri di Direktorat Pembinaan Usaha Hulu. Ini Pak Firdaus, ini juga di Direktorat Pembinaan Usaha Hulu. Terus kemudian ada Pak Utomo di sebelah saya, ada dari Lemigas. Nanti akan menyampaikan terkait dua hal yang pokok yang sekarang sedang kami kerjakan atau nantinya juga akan sedang dikerjakan, yaitu berkaitan dengan CCS dan CCUS. Mungkin ini sekarang banyak ya, kemarin kita sudah punya CCS forum ya kemarin ya di minggu kemarin kalau nggak salah, dan saya kira juga semuanya terus berkembang, terutama nanti di regulasi yang sudah atau akan kita buat. Jadi pada hari ini nanti ada dua paparan dari Pak Firdaus yang mungkin akan lebih heavy terkait dengan regulasi atau terkait dengan Permen 2, kemudian implementasinya seperti apa, terus kemudian juga termasuk dengan akan adanya peraturan yang lebih lebar lagi dari Permen 2 yaitu CCS Hub untuk open area di luar wilayah kerja migas atau di luar kontrak kerjasama migas. Terus kemudian nanti dari Pak Utomo itu akan menyampaikan terkait dengan assessment yang sudah dilakukan oleh Kementerian SDM terkait dengan CO2 storage yang secara nasional yang sudah dipetakan secara teknikal nanti akan disampaikan oleh Pak Utomo. Barangkali itu saja pembukaan dari kami. Kita punya waktu mungkin sampai dengan jam 1 ya, sampai dengan jam 13 waktu Indonesia Tengah. Nanti silakan diperhatikan waktunya, terus kemudian supaya nanti masih ada waktu untuk diskusi. Barangkali itu saja pembukaan dari saya. Untuk yang pertama mungkin Pak Firdaus dulu, silakan Pak Firdaus langsung saja. Bapak-bapak yang ada di belakang bisa di depan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang Bapak Ibu. Good afternoon. Sorry. We speak in bahasa first. Bapak Ibu, ini sebetulnya kita ingin menyampaikan tentang semangat agar semangat pentingnya upaya aktivasi kegiatan CCS di Indonesia ini tetap berjalan dengan baik karena sekarang ibaratnya sedang on fire ya Bapak. Nah, happening lebih tepatnya betul Pak Habib Faisal. Nah, kita pada prinsipnya sebetulnya tadi sudah disampaikan Pak Mas Dwi, sedang menyiapkan secara bersama-sama, baik itu dari stakeholder, dari teman-teman IPA, kemarin teman-teman Repsol juga sudah banyak melaporkan kegiatannya, teman-teman BP, Exxon, dan Karbon Aceh terakhir itu sudah menyampaikan masukan-masukan dan pembahasannya cukup mendalam kemarin. Jadi mungkin ini sekedar saja Bapak Ibu review saja. Nanti mudah-mudahan diskusi selanjutnya bisa lebih mengarah dan insya Allah nanti forumnya juga akan panjang ya di luar forum kita ini. Baik Bapak Ibu, untuk yang slide kedua kita ngelihat mungkin framework-nya kita lihat dari UNFCCC. UNFCCC itu dia melihat bahwa CCUS ini penting dan salah satu cara untuk dekarbonisasi yang cukup efektif bisa mencapai apa, tidak tidak lebih dari 2 degree. Kemudian mitigasinya sudah diperkirakan juga oleh UN Environment Program terkait berapa yang bisa ditingkatkan dari kegiatan CCUS. Nah, kemudian kita melihat di beberapa belahan dunia juga sudah menjalankan kegiatan ini di slide 3, Mas Amin. Ini gambaran berapa kapasitas injeksi di negara-negara yang sudah melakukan kegiatan CCS. Ini per year itu berapa juta ton. Kalau yang bulatannya gede itu range-nya 8 juta ton. Kalau yang bulatannya kecil itu 0,5. Jadi yang gede itu mungkin salah satunya di Kanada ya. Kanada, kemudian Eropa, kemudian Australia di middle, yang medium maksud saya. Indonesia baru akan melangkah. Kemudian selanjutnya dalam rangka itu semua kita ingin memotret juga potensi storage kita karena disadari dari studi yang ada termasuk Lemigas dalam hal ini nanti insya Allah Pak Utomo akan lebih menjelaskan lagi hasil studi yang sedang berjalan ini. Setidaknya ada dua hal yang penting mengenai besarnya potensi storage capacity di kita. Ini memungkinkan bisnis CCS akan berkembang ya. Kemudian next, ini sudah diakomodir oleh Permen 2 2003. Pada prinsipnya ini skupnya di wilayah kerja existing ya, wilayah kerja migas. Implementasi yang mungkin sudah berjalan adalah yang di legal aspek. Yang di legal aspek itu sudah ada POD yang disahkan, POD-nya teman-teman tangguh BP itu sudah disahkan untuk memasukkan CCS, CCUS program. Saat ini yang sedang berjalan itu ada Masela dan Sakemang ya. Selanjutnya untuk yang sudah bisa diimplementasikan dari Permen 2 adalah proyek seperti ini. Kemarin update-nya ada beberapa MOU ya, Pak Haring, MOU dari calon emiter kepada BP untuk siap mengirimkan karbon yang nanti akan di storage di Ubadari, Pak, di lapangan Purwata. Nah, kemudian slide berikutnya ini mungkin yang paling penting bahwa Bapak Ibu yang ada saat ini masih di Permen 2 ini terbatas di kegiatan CCS CCUS di WK Migas. Kemudian untuk yang dari luar, emiter dari luar WK Migas itu hanya untuk kegiatan CCUS. Nah, nanti kita ingin bisa mengcover lebih luas agar kegiatan CCS ini bisa dari luar WK Migas, kemudian nanti sistemnya bukan hanya kontrak kerjasama, tetapi ada lisensi, izin, kemudian ya tadi CO2-nya sumbernya bisa dari luar industri, kemudian memungkinkan adanya lintas batas negara maupun ya sumbernya industri maupun dari sisi negaranya. Kemudian yang berikutnya ini harapannya ada kesempatan untuk menjadi regional CCS hub. Selanjutnya, ini mungkin hal-hal penting yang kami catat bahwa kita butuh peraturan untuk memenuhi kebutuhan ya kerangka hukum dan peraturan untuk mendukung pengembangan CCS yang aman, efektif, dan memberikan kepastian bagi investor. Yang kedua, kita juga perlu mengakomodasi kegiatan CCS yang terintegrasi dari seluruh sektor. Nah, ini. Kemudian juga transportasi lintas batas. Kemudian yang ketiga, kita juga memperhatikan bagaimana pemanfaatan potensi storage secara geologi. Nah, yang sudah ada di draft existing saat ini sementara ini adalah bahwa kita sudah mengcover penawaran kawasan izin ya, WK izin penyimpanan karbon sudah ada, izin eksplorasi untuk studi eksplorasi kemudian mapping seberapa besar penyimpan storage secara geologi berapa ini ya kemampuannya, bagaimana nanti secara bisa di storage secara permanen. Kemudian yang ketiga, izin operasi penyimpanan itu memungkinkan operator bisa menginjeksikan ya, di tempat yang aman. Kemudian juga terkait dengan metodologi dan syarat-syarat apa supaya CCS ini bisa mendukung inisiatif pasar karbon. Beberapa hal yang mungkin poin-poin penting di draft peraturan presiden yang sedang kita siapkan. Yang pertama, kejelasan kepemilikan ruang pori geologi di bawah tanah itu, serta kemudahan memperoleh lahan untuk pembangunan infrastruktur. Kemudian bisa kita juga mencoba bagaimana agar ada jaminan kepastian hukum melakukan usaha, kemudian pedoman pengoperasian CCS seperti apa, standar perlindungan dan keselamatan lingkungan agar bisa dipastikan operasi CCS CCUS berjalan sesuai prosedur persyaratan lingkungan. Kemudian proses perizinan kita buat sederhana, kemudian kejelasan peran dan tanggung jawab masing-masing kementerian yang terlibat dalam proses perizinan, dan koordinasi yang sederhana dari berbagai pemangku kepentingan. Selanjutnya, kewajiban dibebankan kepada negara pengekspor. Ini nanti kita diskusikan untuk memastikan bahwa Indonesia harus terlindungi melalui perjanjian bilateral atau multilateral sebagai bentuk tanggung jawab risiko, misalnya kebocoran dan sebagainya. Kemudian kita juga membicarakan di dalam draft itu seputar insentif, baik fiskal maupun non-fiskal, berupa antara lain keringanan pajak, pinjaman berbunga rendah, mekanisme penetapan harga karbon untuk mengurangi biaya awal dan resiko keuntungan bagi investor. Selanjutnya, ini kurang lebih draftnya, poin-poin yang ada di draft peraturan presiden, bagaimana mekanisme CCS berdasarkan izin eksplorasi dan juga ada izin operasi penyimpanan. Yang kedua, transportasi karbon lintas batas, nilai ekonomi karbonnya, kemudian kerjasama bilateral yang memungkinkan transportasi lintas batas. Lanjut. Kurang lebih ini proses bisnis secara umum agar CCS di Indonesia bisa mulai dari mulai persiapan areanya hingga penutupan dan pemantauan aktivitas. Tahap izin ini izin eksplorasi itu 6 tahun dan dapat diperpanjang 4 tahun. Sementara masa operasi penyimpanan itu selama 30 tahun dan dapat diperpanjang. Selanjutnya, ini mungkin masih ada beberapa isu yang penting yang insya Allah sebetulnya dari diskusi kita terakhir dengan teman-teman stakeholders sudah banyak yang terselesaikan, dari mulai terminologi, monitoring, MRP, per border, definisi karbon sendiri sudah ada, licensing system-nya, kemudian storage fee dan royalty, serta insentif. Slide terakhir, kita kurang lebih Bapak Ibu, ini yang mungkin kita harapkan agar Indonesia bisa menjadi regional CCS hub, karbon dari arah atas, dari misalkan dari laut Natuna atau dari Singapura itu bisa kita handle di tengah, sementara dari sisi timur kita juga bisa handle melalui koordinasi berdasarkan bisnis CCS dengan menurut peraturan presiden yang sedang kita siapkan. Demikian Bapak Ibu, untuk sekedar review, sekedar overview. Selanjutnya karena waktu yang sangat terbatas, nanti Mas Tomo biar lebih detail menjelaskan tentang hasil studinya. Tapi Bapak Ibu kami persilakan untuk mendiskusikan yang tadi kita sampaikan. Monggo silakan Bapak Ibu. Terakhir. Baik, langsung Mas Tomo ya.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Firdaus. Ini adalah overview tentang regulasi ya. Jadi nanti lebih happy-nya ke regulasi. Berikutnya nanti ada Pak Tomo terkait dengan teknikalnya, terkait dengan assessment tadi itu. Nah, di belakang juga ada brosur korporat tentang Lemigas. Jadi Bapak Ibu silakan kalau misalnya ada brosur tentang Lemigas, sebagai BLU ya Pak, itu ada di sana ada kompetensi yang ada di situ. Monggo silakan bisa diambil di meja sebelah sini. Untuk waktu terkait dengan assessment CO2 storage, silakan Pak Tomo.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Utomo. I'm from Lemigas. So today I would like to present our study. So as the repeatedly mentioned in the plenary hall this morning that Ministry of Energy and also Ministry of Environment on the previous day that in order to encourage investment in the low carbon technologies, so we need to assess the resources just like in the oil and gas industry, actually how much we can store the CO2 in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So there are several motivations why we as the governmental bodies conducted the high level assessment on the CO2 storage resources. First is because we would like to respond to the ministerial regulations that has been released on the implementation of CCUS in the upstream oil and gas business activities. And the objective is to provide the stakeholders, the industry, the financial institutions, especially with overview of storage resources that we estimated using a unified methodology uh, for all of the geological formation across Indonesia. And we define here the CO2 storage resource as the fraction of pore volume, how much the CO2 can be occupied. And in our assessments, of course, there is some limitation that we only consider that the only physical trapping occur on the geological formations. And also the other objective is to encourage especially the oil and gas operators to invest in the low carbon technologies. And we would expect that this kind of assessment would give us a practical outlook on the technically accessible CO2 storage resources, so then can guide the policymakers and stakeholders in large-scale storage decisions. Because when we make decision making, the decision maker must know how much the storage capacity and its geographical distributions. And in this context, our assessment are not meant to replace if anyone has done the very site-specific characterization. Next slide, please. So this is the methodology that we use to estimate the CO2 geological storage resource in oil and gas fields. Our methodology applicable to the field scale of evaluations, and the target of the CO2 storage resource assessments, we are using the approach using production based instead of the volumetric, because the certainty is much higher, and we are not aiming for the total in place of volume of the reservoir. So the technically accessible resources are those defined as the feasible with the current geological and engineering expertise. And one of the drawbacks of this methodology, of course, we don't include the economic evaluation or constraints regarding to the resource volume estimation. So as you can see on the right hand side, this is our formula. Is basically is the product of the CO2 density and estimated ultimate recovery times the formation volume factor to convert the CO2 into the subsurface volume. Next slide, please. So this is the current distribution of CO2 storage resources in the oil and gas fields in Indonesia as of on the July 2023. This is still ongoing studies. Yeah, we are having some difficulty in acquiring the data. As we know, data is very expensive in this country. And in total, we have around almost 4.3 gigaton of CO2 resources in the across Indonesia in the oil and gas fields. And this is only accounts 10% of the total oil and gas fields entirely in Indonesia. So we would expect much higher storage resources in the future once we collected more than 1,000 identified oil and gas fields. And in some young fields, as you know very well, that the proof reserve will increase with time as more oil and gas reservoir are discovered, and also the technological advancements improve. Next slide, please. So this is the other geological formation that also we identified that exists in Indonesia, saline aquifers or saline formations, and slightly different from the previous approach. This methodology only applicable on the basin scale evaluations because mainly to the data limitation. And we apply several suitability criteria when we screen and selected the basin, such as with the depth more than 800 meters to account the phase of CO2, and also the hydrogeologic condition that must isolate the CO2 within the formation, and also it has to have the regional seal. And the formula is quite similar. In this case, we don't use the production base because we don't know because we never produce the cell line. Instead, we are using the volumetric approach. In this case, we add additional variables like the density and the storage efficiency. So one of the hot discussion in this formula is how we define the storage efficiency. So again, we adopt the methodology from the US DOE. So the efficiency factors is different from each lithology because each lithology has wide and varying properties because they are having different relation with the burial depth. And this variable, the efficiency factor, reflects the fractions of the total pore volume that can be occupied by the injected CO2. So we also introduce the additional variable, which is the geometry multiplier. So this is to correct the shape of the basin. So if we don't apply this, we would assume that all of the basin would have the shape of the block. Okay, next slide, please. And this is the result of our assessment. So as of today, we have estimated around 19 out of 128 basins. And the status of basin varies. The red one indicates the producing basins, and the blue one is the discovery basin. The orange one, the unexplored, but we have the GNG data. And these are the distributions. So in total, we have almost 600 gigaton, and it would be increasing more once we have more data. So one of the difficulty of estimating the storage resources in saline aquifers is that we have to combine a various of data like from the IPA publication, our internal reports, and also from the geological agency. And we would like to release this map in this year, but at least we have to represent several capacity estimates on the discovery and unexplored basin. Next slide, please. So classification of storage resources is very important because the commercial of CCS project involves the stakeholders, of course, government, industry, and financial institution for lending the money. Therefore, it is very important that the stakeholders are in the same page on how to categorize the CO2 storage resources. So it would make it easier for the investment decision and also assessing the investment performance. So nowadays, there are two types of classification that we identified. The recent one is published by the SPE, the Storage Resources Management System. And on the right-hand side is quite older classification, which is Techno-Economic Resource Reserve Pyramid. But basically, they are quite similar in terms of the classification. So on our assessment on oil and gas field, it can be classified as the contingent resources as indicated in the red star, either in the, of course, in the ASRMS, while in the techno-economic pyramid, it could be classified as the prospect capacity, because in this case, we have addressed the uncertainty in the geological and engineering limits. On the other hand, on the saline formations, our classification can fall to the total pore volume on the techno-economic pyramids, and also the prospect storage resources on the ASRMS system. And the reason is why, because we have the limitation of data, the uncertainty is very high. And also there is no, we assume that the total pore volume is accessible for the CO2 storage. And the storage, the CO2 geological resources in the cell information, of course, can be improved as we acquire more data. Next slide, please. So besides the regulation, the ongoing drafting on regulation on the presidential regulation, we also going to release on the national standards. So as part of the team on this drafting this national standard, we are going to adopt the standard from the ISO, and we would like to release the standard because this is one of the make the national inventory of greenhouse gas emission can be transparently accounted in our national to issue the greenhouse gas reduction certificate. And also this standard would create the baseline for the, of course, encouragement for the carbon trading in the future. So we have identified several standards that published by the ISO, and these standards are ranges from the transportation up to the geological storage. So especially on the geological storage on the ISO 279-114 will be the main focus that I would like to discuss more in the next slide. And we are going to use the method by reprinting and reproducing the standard. And we hope that we could publish in this November. And of course, within 2 years after we publish, this standard should be translated into Bahasa Indonesia. Next slide, please. So I'd like to give you an overview about the ISO 27914 on the geological storage. So the purpose of this standard is to promote commercial, safe, and long-term containment. And I have highlighted several key points on this standard, such as site selection, operational plans, monitoring, closure and post-closure, and regulatory compliance. Especially on the site selection, it requires for the operator to do a thorough assessment on the potential sites, and they have to evaluate the geological properties and storage capacity, and also include the risk assessment. The other thing is on the part of the closure and post-closure, it outlines the procedure, the safety of the closings, and specify what kind of long-term monitoring tools that should be deployed, and also on the verification plans. I think this is summarized my presentation this afternoon. Thank you for your attention.
Oke, terima kasih Pak Utomo. So we still have about 10 minutes to have a discussion. I think should you have any question, we have two speakers here, so you can ask anything, please. Silakan Pak. Halo, Pak.
Selamat siang, saya Haryadi. Ini pakai bahasa Inggris, bahasa Indonesia.
Sorry, do you understand bahasa or not really?
So,
Maybe Pak Bobby will translate for you.
So good afternoon. I'm Haryadi. I'm from ExxonMobil, happening to be working on CCS for ExxonMobil. So first of all, Pak, thank you for good presentations, and especially thanks for Lemigas for leading the development of the regulations, because Lemigas actually leading for two regulations. First is the minister regulation, which has been issued, and now actually presidential regulations try to develop the new business processes up beyond the petroleum operation. So this actually is supposed to be showing the investors that the intent of the government to use the storage to help the reduce emissions. I think it's not really, probably I have met with Pak Dwi and team a lot of times as ExxonMobil and IPA to discuss about regulations. I think like I reiterate that CCS is pioneer business, so it needs certainty and it's long term. It's a pioneer long term. It looks like similar to upstream. When we invest, we are going to be in the country for longer term, like 30 plus years. So if it's a long term investment required, it needs a certainty, legal certainty that for investor that investment can be can generate certain return in the longer term. That's actually one of the key one. And second, Pak, CCS is a big investment. It's like a $100 million. It's not billion dollars. If you look at the full value chains, and because of the challenge overall, the flexibility of the government to facilitate at least the first activation of the project is required in terms of the fiscal subsidies, or actually also allowing the cross-border CO2 or international trading of the carbon is going to be. And finally, Pak, before the other contributing is we need the same level of playing field. So the current draft has can go through the contracting or licensing. So if we have the same playing field, not only within the industry, within the country, but as well as outside the countries, that's going to help development of the CCS industry inside the country. I think that's and really appreciate again that Lemigas has done a very good job in developing this one, involving the industry participation. So thank you for, and he's doing it at like incredible speed, developing the draft. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Pak Hari. I think that's what we want to capture from all of you. And I think during the preparation of the regulation itself, we learn from others that already conduct this business, like maybe from Canada, from Norway, Australia, and any country. So that's the benchmark that we have to see. So in Indonesia, we have to, sometimes we must adopt with the existing regulation, but we try to make it balanced between your need and country needs in terms of the long-term project. Thank you, Pak. Maybe mungkin agak dekat ya, Pak. Saya
Thank you, Pak. So, I'm Franz Utomo from BP. Again, I think we have met before, but online, Pak Dwi. So, we're glad to meet all the team today. Thank you for the invitation as well. So, I think we saw several things, something that we appreciate very much. I think, for example, the standard that we are adopting and adjusting for Indonesia, the ISO, for example. So we are actually, BP is kind of put together the plan of development before the regulation is available. And we are using the international standard, and ISO is one of the reference that we are using, including for transport, capturing. So we are glad to see that, because in all our CCS and CCS project globally, actually, there are some technical standard, legal and so on, but it will need to adapt and suitable with the regulation. So with the ministry regulation and then president regulation on the way, I think that helps a lot, because we have our own plan, but some of them actually not yet can be implemented. Even for the plan of development of Tangguh, right now SDK Lemigas approve our we don't call it CCUS yet, but this is for the enhanced gas recovery, but with a specific clause that we will go back to SDK Lemigas once the regulations in place to revise on the CCS and CCUS part of that. So with the regulation, the ministry regulation in place, I think that very important step. You need to update from that. So again, different place, then we have to adjust with the regulation in country, also for the monitoring, for the order requirement and everything. Appreciate for the government, the Lemigas also has been leading on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. Mungkin Pak Utomo bisa.
We just initiated on the adoption of the standard recently, a couple of weeks ago, and then we will have the next meeting, the first technical meetings tomorrow. And actually, we have identified another also existing standard like verified carbon FERA. But their standards are still in the public discussion and review. So since ISO has published, especially on the geological storage on 2017, and actually now they are updating on the ISO on the geological storage because every 5 years ISO update their standards. Uh, Again, we think that ISO is the more robust standards that almost cover the entire CCS value chains. And from my initial review, that actually it's very comprehensive and doesn't have any issue if to be implemented in Indonesia.
Masih ada 4 menit ya.
Terima kasih, selamat pagi. Pagi siang ya. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the good presentation and inviting all of us in this in the session. And I'm Teresita, I'm from Repsol. So you mentioned about the project at the upstream that is utilizing the current arrangement under the Ministerial Decree number 2, 2023. So what we'd like to convey is that there is a need for transitioning from the existing regulation to the new regulation. And then therefore, it needs some kind of consistency for what practices and the provisions and the current the Ministerial Decree number 2, 2023, and the arrangement under the new or draft of regulation for the presidential regulation. And we also would like to bring the importance of the recognition of the existing oil and gas operations for the utilization of the saline aquifer or depleted reservoir for new license for the carbon storage, because it's already under the PSC, right? For the existing contractor to have the utilization of the depleted reservoir within the working area. And we also would like to bring to your attention of the ease of the previous business arrangement that already in place pending to issuance of the perpres to get the priority or certain when it comes to obtaining the new license for carbon existing PSC for obtaining the storage carbon storage license or other arrangement business arrangement with other third party for getting the license. It's something that we have reviewed the regulation and also would like to get the being represented in the draft later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Teresita. I think we met in the Zoom ya. Now we are face to face. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for your input. I think that is what we need, the feedback from you, because the player will be you, right? So we try to make it balance between the existing, what we have existing is the PSC contract, and there is some also initiative from other PSC, I think, contractor that want to involve in this business. So we have to make it balance. And I think this morning, yeah, Pak Hari, we have a little chit chat and discussion about how to make the same equal, how to treat where the this business will be conducted in the license or in the contract itself. and we still in progress for that thing. And of course, we have another ministry involved in this arrangements of the regulation. So we have to listen to them also, and we have to comply with the existing regulation, which is under their authority. So this is what we do right now, and day by day we prepare the draft until I think we have target in this months to finish that. So this is, I think this is good opportunity to have a discussion with you. And of course, if you still have any feedback, please don't hesitate to contact us. Anything, especially for the aspect of the business, yeah, because it will involve the Ministry of Investment, just, like that. So I think that's our response right now. Thank you. Ya, silakan Pak Faisal, ini teman saya.
Is it must be Firdaus? This is like a question which is not common, because in this room all talking about CCS, CCUS. But what happened if something dispute coming? For example, one company having facilities, and the company would like to conduct CCS or to operate green energy. And suddenly there are one other company produce discovery and will use the same facilities without CCS. So the existing operator, which is having facilities, would like to run the operation under green energy CCS concept. And suddenly there is a coming PSC, just discovery, only send the gas to be processed and to sell without CCS. If this company having the owner of facilities reject such operation because they are using the green energy concept to avoid such circumstance, any non CCS operation, and reject the request, but the government, maybe there any push or pressure from others to still accept such non CCS operation, for example, what will happen? So how the dispute will be resolved? Yes, thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you. This is uncommon question, but so the answer will be unconventional also. So I think your question is, I think that is the question for technical or some like certain case gitu Pak. So I think if we deal with that, I think the result will be, I mean the case will be resolved in the POD itself, in the discussion of your POD of your CCS project, and also maybe you mentioned about someone want to use the facility without CCS, right? So I think because when we deal with the permit number 2, the existing PSC should propose the POD, and other should also revise their POD. So I think the result will be in their PODs, just like that, Pak. But I cannot answer on that question right now because it's still, okay, because that is case by case, I think. Thank you, Pak.
Yeah, because if this become dispute, as you know, CCS is a negative investment, only for green concept, because at the moment everyone try to go for CCS or CCUS, and that's why how I'm keep thinking, if something happen, different frequency, yang satu mau CCS, yang satu tidak mau CCS, tapi using the facilities from the owner that having CCS. So if such rejection, whether the government will pro to the CCS concept or the government as still continue. Itu aja sih. Mas Di, sorry.
I think I cannot answer your questions. Very difficult for me, Pak. Please next. Ya,
Okay,
silakan,
thank you,
Pak.
Pak. My name is Devi from BP. Thank you very much. I mean, we are very excited to see how fast is the progress on the drafting of the presidential regulation. And I think it's very fast compared to the last time we did the minister regulation, where we also from BP also part of the team, the task force there. But having seen and reviewed the draft, a couple of things that we also see that because this is interministerial regulation is being managed and coordinated under the draft of presidential regulation, meaning that we have Ministerial of Energy coordinating Minister of Maritime and Investment, and also the Environment Minister, as well as Finance. The thing is, with this coming all together, the complexity is what we want to avoid. For example, like the permitting. So a couple of the clauses that we see that permit can come from the Minister of Energy, but also from the investment. So those kind of things that we need to be very careful that even though this is interministerial and we want to move as fast as possible, but we should think about the implication going forward about the complexity, and therefore we want to, what we really want to get is the ease of investing. So therefore how the regulation can provide that simplicity, but still managing the coordinating between the ministerial. And regarding the ownership of the port space, that's one of the aspect that is want to capture as well on the presidential decree. It's very clear, and we think we can copy and adapt with the current, I mean, oil and gas upstream definition. Well, this is regarding the oil and gas ownership, but the pore space is basically sort of like similar. I mean, the resources is the country manage and the ownership of that one, and therefore the contractor is the operator. And what needs to be defined is about the ownership of the CO2. So for example, when we go for the transnational or cross-boundary CO2, where's the CO2 ownership should be? Because this is will relate with the liability, long-term liability. If the liability is still under the emitter of international or cross-border emitters, then the liability needs to be maintained as well. And we're happy to see that the bilateral agreement needs to be in place to ensure about the liability. The other thing is about the storage fee. This is where it's a bit different with the ministerial regulation, where it regulates on the upstream oil and gas emission reduction, but this is outside, and how to define the storage fee. What we see is let's keep the storage fee on the business to business level, and not to put the restriction on their one. And we're happy to see that even though the pricing, the fee mechanism will be based on the approval by the energy ministry, but this is where the flexibility needs to be keep open, and therefore the matching between business to business to define the storage fee. The last thing that I would like to highlight is about the SNE or standard, and Pak Utomo already mentioned about the FERA registry. We see it is important that if you want to make use about the international carbon market to really tap in and help about the economics on the CCS hub, then we need to make sure that the SNI that we have domestically compatible with the international registry. And we see that FERA is just one of the carbon registry.
and there are a lot of other registry out there, that the procedure and the mechanism under those registry will help how the carbon unit that we store under the CCS hub can be trading and can help. And therefore, what we would like to propose is maybe to still open also with the other registry, and therefore we can I mean, just to substitute, yeah, anything that still can be added from other registry outside of ERA, that's as long as it is beneficial to get the SNI compatible with other international carbon registry as well. That's all, Pak. What do you think?
Thank you, Pak, for your input. For the first one, okay. Right now, there is a regulation to regulate the everything that connected to the business right now. Maybe you know that government regulation number 5, 2021, that everything must comply with the business permit. So we try to relate, or we try to connect on that regulation. So that's why in our presidential regulation we have two schemes, because the contract itself actually one of the or recognized as the business permit in that regulation. And if the CCS business doesn't work, then we have another scheme. That's why we use a license. So that's the option for you. And then the second one, the liabilities. Yes, you are mentioning about the long discussion about the liabilities. Of course, the CO2 will be belong to who? Because the CO2 will be. That's why in our have FGDs or any information from others. There is some discussion that the B2B you mentioned before, that bilateral or B2B arrangement should be the umbrella for the business to business mechanical scheme that should address that the CO2 will be, there must be instrument to ensure that CO2 is not going anywhere. So that's the point. So the CO2 belong to who? We will ensure that we must ensure that CO2 is not going anywhere. That's why we have maybe in our draft, maybe you already read that, we have like a financial security to maybe to guarantee if there is something happen, then you take the money from those guarantee to conduct maybe kind of operational or something like that. So that's the point. But government to government for the umbrella to have same perception, same frequency with others country, the emitter from others, and then will be down to the business to business process. And of course, the storage fee itself will be reflect of the business to business itself. So I think if government try to, let's say, regulate the, I don't know, is it maybe it will not match with your calculation of for in terms of economic, I think. So the input from stakeholders like you, maybe it must be the storage fee. I mean, it must be not regulated, but in the basis of B2B. Thank you, Pak. And I think the last one will be Pak Tomo.
Yeah, thank you, Pak, for the feedback and input. This standard is proposed urgently by Directorate of General Oil and Gas, and this proposal is characterized as urgent. And because this is urgent, there are two methods in our national standardization bodies. One is by adoption, and second one is by self-development. So if we want to publish the standard soon, of course, it's not realistic if we want to adopt more than one standard. It means that we have to develop ourselves by reviewing more than one standard, international standard. So just a little bit history on the ISO, on the geological storage on CCS. Initially, Canada was the first one who uh, um, publish the regulation on the CO2 storage. And then again, uh, the regulation, the standard that published by Canada was adopted by the ISO. And then there are several countries have been using this standard, such as Norway and Denmark. And as you know very well, the standard provide you as a guideline. It's not mandated, but they can work together really fine with the regulations. And typically standard is initiated by the industry. So your input on the national registry, I think is very beneficial for us, and I can bring this up on our discussion with the technical committee. Thank you.
Oke, oh masih ada satu lagi. Oke. Okay, thank you, but good question. Yes, after this presidential regulation issued, I think there will be many regulation or to be in the mechanic to implement the process of the business will be like the tender itself. It needs regulation, and then for the license itself, it needs regulation. But what happened with the existing, right? Your question is, what about the existing? Yes, maybe we will make some visit to this regulation. Is it comparable to this one, to the new one? If there is something to be revised, then we will do that. I think that's the answer, bro. So there will be some consistency, I think, with the maybe will be like if the current regulation is not work, and the president regulation can upgrade those, I think we will revisit and revise those things. Yeah, maybe that's the final. Yeah, so thank you for everyone for attending this meeting, and right now we will have lunch. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Bapak dan Ibu yang telah hadir di Investor Room ini yang akan mengikuti acara presentation mengenai potensi wilayah kerja Bobara. Kita akan mulai saat lagi, materi presentation sedang kita finalkan. Mungkin Bapak dan Ibu bisa mengambil teh dan kopi sambil menunggu ya, atau bisa berbincang-bincang sejenak. Mohon ditunggu, mohon pemaklumannya. Terima kasih. Baik, Bapak dan Ibu, izin kami mulai acara ya. Yang kami hormati Bapak Muktianto Suryowibowo, selaku narasumber pada sesi presentasi teknis kita pada siang hari ini, serta seluruh Bapak dan Ibu yang kami muliakan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Kami mengucapkan selamat datang kepada Bapak dan Ibu telah berkenan hadir mengenai presentasi teknis yang akan membawakan materi mengenai potensi wilayah kerja Bobara yang kemarin telah ditawarkan oleh Direktur Dijen Migas melalui mekanisme penawaran lelang reguler dan akan ditawarkan selama 2 bulan durasi lelangnya. Wilayah kerja ini berada di lepas pantai Papua Barat, sebelumnya dikenal dengan Aru dan West Papua 4 yang telah diterminasi kontrak kerjasamanya. Dan telah hadir bersama kita narasumber sekaligus tim Capman yang mengevaluasi wilayah kerja ini, Bapak Suryowibowo. Untuk itu, pada Bapak Suryowibowo kami persilakan.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, apologize for the delay. I was unaware that this is also put in the Zoom, so that I have to transfer the file into different computer. All right, so this afternoon, as mentioned, we are going to discuss around the Bubara area, which is part of the Aru project. So if you're aware that the last year is since actually 2021, we were assigned to evaluate 5 areas, which is the Huton here, Seram, and then Warim, and been presented by Professor Mino yesterday, and then Aru and Timor. So there was 5 area. So this is the Aru area, which covers this area here, and Bobara is sitting there. So next slide. So this is the Bobara block that was announced yesterday in the main conference room, been put into the regular tender in the area that was previously, you will see later that it was previously operated by Repsol there. So, you know, the study area is much bigger than this, so I will only focus for the area around the Bobara. Next. This is just to let you aware that the study area covers around 65,000 square kilometers, covering this area. And the way we do the analysis, the evaluation, we divide it into 5 sectors. So sector 1, sector 2, sector 3, sector 4, and sector 5. You know, and therefore throughout the presentation, you will hear that I will be using terminology of sectors. Just to be aware that this is sector 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Bobara is sitting here in a sector 3. Sector 3, and this is the Aru Island, just for reference. And this is the Aru Trough, and Bobara is sitting just on top of the Aru Trough. So if you look at on the this is the water depth. This is a shallow, and the darker color means deeper. And as you see, this is the deep area. Depth is in the order of 3,000 to 4,000 meters. Next slide. This the data set that we used during the evaluations. So a total of over 2,000 2D lines, or in kilometers is over 150,000 kilometers, with some 3D data included in the evaluation, such as in here, there, and there. So you will see that the Bobara area is actually has some 3D data. Yeah, some 3D data in here. So we also use the existing wells around the area. Total is 61 wells that have been looked at to support the analysis. Next slide. So let's start with the regional geology. Next. So this is to give you a picture of the free air gravity. You know, this is the dot line. Best line here is the area that we studied, and this is the Papua Island on to the north. And as you see that the Abadi fields is in here, so so inside the study area, and this is Timor Island, and this is the Banda Arc. So if you see the gravity data, you can see the continuity of the Australian continent. You know, the extending to the north. So it is just the whole area is basically is the northern part of the Australian continents. And the deeper area here is representing a deep and or thick sedimentary process, like in the Akimaka area here, where there is the central Papuan fault belt. So the area that you will see to the west northwest is bounded with the accretionary prism of the collision of the Australian continent with the Eurasian plate, that creating the Banda outer Banda Arc. This is the deep area along the collisions, and to the north, the boundary is the collision between the Australian plate with the Pacific plate, that generating the central Papuan fault belts. Next, just to give you the a general picture, so that you will easier to imagine what the area that we studied looks like. So this is the 3 seismic section, regional seismic section, extending. Number 1 is from the northwest to southeast, Number 2 going to the middles, the spot north-south, and this is the section number 3. So if you look at on the, I'll start from the middle one, just to make it easier for you. That this is the area that we look at. So the colors, the horizons here is representing the major horizons that we mapped. Starting the old one is what we call as the Permo-Triassic boundaries. Yeah, so we are using as sequences, as major sequences that's been defined by the study did by Corlab and Pratama back in 1992. So this is the oldest, is the Permo-Triassic. So we then evaluate the section below the Permo-Triassic, and I'll tell you later why that we didn't evaluate that one. And then number 2 is the dark green, which is here we correlate with the biostratigraphy, is we call this Cretaceous. Actually, there is the another one, dark blue, but it doesn't appear here. But however, that the what I want to show you here is the middle area is basically is a dome, if you will. It's a big platform, and to the south it thickens a little bit, and to the north it's thickened lots by the here. So you can see the sequences of sediments younger than the Permo-Triassic, and it does spins out to the platform. And if you go to the further to the east, and then what you see is again, this is the platform, and goes deeper, and this is the thicker area to the area where what we call as the foreland Akimega Basin. Akimega Basin is in here, so you can see the thickened area, thickened sediment, and then again it pins out to the main area, or to the Arafura platform. And here, the one the most to the west of the area, you can see if the section goes from Troubadour 1 through the Abadi 1, well, Barakan and Koba, and also ASE 1. So it goes, you can see more variety in terms of the sediment thickness, and the also the stratigraphy of the area, and it goes to here. This is what we call as Aru trough. This is the Aru trough. It's a very deep trough, which you know, later I'll explain that this is a very young feature, which is only about 5 million years ago. Yes, it's very deep. Deep here is around the 3,000, 4,000 meters. And this is where the Bobara block is located. There's a very complex trough in here. Later that you can see in a more detailed seismic section. Next. So this is the another 4 regional section. We looked at on the northwest, southwest, northeast regional section. Now we are looking at the section from west to east. Yeah. So again, I'll start with from the south, and this is the Abadi field. This is the platform, as I showed you before. So it has taken a little bit to the east, but then this is along the shelf edge of the continent, Australian continent. You can see this kind of much thicker sediments, younger than the Permo-Triassic. Yeah, so this is the seabed, and this is the Permo-Triassic is in a purple. And going to the north, this is the Barakan 1 well. Again, that this is the area of the primarily the Aru platform. There is a thickening little bit as it goes to the Akimega area, or the foreland basins, and then to the west, this is the southern part of the Aru trough. Start to see the thickening, and also the deep water of the Aru trough, and some complex structures. And goes to the north, number 4. Again, this is the accretionary prism of the Panda outer arc, a big major bonding fault here, and this is the about at the middle of the Aru trough, and goes into these wells here, and then you can see that the starting of the thickening above the Permo-Triassic section close to the Akimata basin. And this is the most complex area here is the section number 7 that goes, toward the northern part of the study area. As you see, this is the Andalat 1, and then this is the accretionary prism, the outer Panda arc, and then goes to the Aru trough. It's about the northern part, the heart of the Aru trough, and goes the thinning out into the east of the Arab platform. So you can see that the majority, this is the core of the Arapula platform. There's some thickening of the sediments to the west-northwest, and then another thickening along the Akimata. Next. Overall, as you can see, this is the just an example of the time structure map over the area. As you can see, this is the high at the Permo-Triassic level, and it's going deeper toward the Akimata basin, and also they're going deeper into to the west and northwest of the area. Next. So if you look at on the if you're trying to put it in the what is the structural elements, the major structural elements of the study area, then we call this as the Arapura dome in the middle, and then to the north, this is the Akimata basin, the foreland basin, and then we also observe the kind of Kola graben in here, Aru trough further to the west, and going down to the southwest, we identify what we call as a Sindora embayment, and this is the Abadi High where the Abadi field is located. It's here, and then further to the west is the outer arc, outer Panda arc Boltras belt. So this is the structural elements of the study area, if you will. Next. And looking at the stratigraphy, as you see from the seismic section, then this is the oldest horizon that we mapped. It's called the Permo-Triassics. So we didn't map the section below it, but we are focusing on the section to the north, getting younger of the Permo-Triassic. So and this is the horizons that we picked. Is the major sequence boundaries that we mapped, starting from Permo-Triassic, Jurassic, early Jurassic, late Jurassic, and then Cretaceous, and then the Oligocene, Miocene, and this is the youngest one is the Pliocene, the P3, which is the significant boundaries. If you will see later that this is the significantly boundaries in the formation of the Aru trough. Next. Just to give you the what the stratigraphy looks like. So you saw the seismic section. Now that you see the well correlation. So starting from the south, starting from Troubadour, Abadi, and going to the east, and go to the north toward the Akimata basin. So you see this is the Troubadour is penetrating the section, and also this is the Permo-Triassic interval here. This is the Abadi number 1. Sorry, this is the Jurassic. It didn't penetrate the Permo-Triassic. This is the Jurassic section. This is the Jurassic section penetrated in Abadi 1, and then this is you don't see much of the Jurassic and the Sindoro 1. And then Mutiara Putih is the the well that penetrating most of the section older than the Perma-Triassic. So the wiggles lines here representing the old Perma-Triassic, and you start to see up into the Sindoro, but the Abadi and Troubadour did not penetrate the Perma-Triassic. So again, this is the whole section that you can see the thickening of the section above the Perma-Triassic and thins out toward the Arafura Dome. And when the section above the Perma-Triassic is quite thin, and then thickening up again toward the east and to the north. Next. This is the section. It's about northwest southeast. Again, starting from the Lanyadog, Abadi 1 through Sindoro, Parakan, Toba, Aru, and ASM. Up in here, again, you can see this is the Perma-Triassic intervals that penetrated in several wells, and then this is the Jurassic. Jurassic we see in Abadi and thins out toward the Sindoro, and then this is the Cretaceous interval, which is primarily the fine grain sediments that deposited during the transgressions above the Jurassic that cover most of the area, but some it's only covering this very relatively thin intervals in the Arua and also in the Merpati. And the dark blue color here is this is the myosin carbonate. Myosin carbonate that become the primary target for the Bobara block later on. Yeah. Next, this is probably from this well correlation. You can see that how the complex the area at the north side of the study area is quite complex and dynamic. Structurally, is quite dynamic. Where the wells is on being penetrated, also at various depth. As you can see, this is the same thickness, but then if you compare between what you penetrated in one well, such as in the myosin carbonate, and here you only penetrating a very little or very thin. Okay. Again. This is the structural cross section, so you can see that the up and down of the well positions because due to the tectonic variety. Next, why that this area is important? I'll go a little bit on the history of the exploration of the area. Next, so if you look at on the this is the hydrocarbon indication. Yeah, hydrocarbon indication around the area, which primarily focusing along the margin of the shelf of the Australian continent in here. There's a lot of the hydrocarbon indication, which is observed in as oil seeps, gas seeps, and also indicated on the seabed through the piston cores and so on. That it shows you this is a kind of a very prolific area where the petroleum system is there. You can see almost everywhere along here that there is an indication of the hydrocarbon. Yeah, either piston drop cores or the seeps, and also some oil seals from previous wells. Next. In terms of the discoveries that has been made, you see this is the Bonaparte area. So again, this is the Australian continent, basically. The dark red here. You can see the discoveries that made in Australian water, Bonaparte, Sunrise Troubadour in here, This is the Abadi Fields, and then going to the north, this is a Bintuni Fields, yeah, and then you can see the discovery in Seram. And if you go to the further to the east, and everybody knows that there's a lot of discoveries being made in a PNC area. So the study area is basically sitting about the triangle of the proven fields, and it's not a small field. If you look at the numbers, 8 TCF in Payundan and in Bonaparte, and then the Sunrise Troubadour 11.24 TCF, Abadi Field here, and then Pintuni, and also the big number, it's what 6 billion has been discovered in the PNC area. So it's supposed to be a very interesting area for the hydrocarbon exploration. Next. So therefore, that the exploration in Arafura area has been started even during the 50s. So 50s and then 70s, a lot of wells been drilled by Phillips, and then in the 80s, there's more operators to come and to explore, but has no luck that been made, and then it does not happen until the 2000, where Inpex discovered Abadi Field. So in the 90s, that the Arco discovered wells in the Bintuni areas, but in the Arafura area, then the most significant discovery is the Masela, the Abadi one and the Masela PSCs. And another key discoveries that have been made is the what we call Pumera, to the north of Wakam, and also the Chikar one. That is not a discovery, but this is an important data set that we need to look at on the Chikar one well drilled in 2013. It shows the some hydrocarbons in the wells in mice and carbon. So it's been long story of the exploration in here, but it's only one significant discovery is made in the other. Next. So if you look at this is the study area. This is just a plot of the activities that have been made. Red color is supposed to be the active exploration blocks. Yeah, but then the some in here is already been drilling this by now. But this is the map of a year or 2 years ago. So then the active block is still in here. This is the Abadi Masela block. This is Yamdena. Babar Selaru already been relinquished, completely relinquished. This is the Aru and West Papua 4 already been completed. And this is Wokam, already completed as well. So leaving this the North Arafura, and this is the Southeast Papua. If you look at on the here is the variety, the block that has been studied, through joint studies. Yeah. Goyang-goyang. Yeah. Waiting if you have any questions. Yes.
I find that there is a page which shows a lot of seismic.
Mhm.
It seems that in this area, the seismic data is very enough, is it right?
It depends. Yeah, it depends because the seismic are various vintages. Yes, been acquired in different years. Yeah, the seismic that been acquired in the mid 70s and early 80s is not that great. Yeah, so but I displayed all the seismic. Although
That-
actually that the team also has done some classification of three classification poor, fair and good seismic and so on.
Mhm.
So not every single seismic is displayed on that slide is at a good quality actually.
Okay,
Yeah, but the 3D data is good.
okay. Let's just say from that page, you have put all the history seismic data down,
Yes.
but some the quality is not
Yes.
enough to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes.
sometimes that even for the structural interpretation, it's only good for structural interpretation, but it's not easy to for tracing the same horizons. Especially if you go in a more detail within the some sedimentary intervals.
Okay. My second question is, there are 5 area, right? Section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
So currently, there one, you let's just say, how many area are open, or are all the 5 area open now?
Very much open. Very
Much
much open. And only several blocks that currently active, such as the Mastela, where Abadi built is active. And then to the north is which is located in sector 1. Yeah. And then to the north is the Yamdena block. And then to the further to the north on the land area is the only 2 blocks that are active. So actually very much is available. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, while waiting, if you have another questions to be asked to Pak Suryo, you may ask.
While discussing about waiting for this, maybe can you explain about the data availability in the market? Of course, we have MDR, but I understand there is some more data available in the market.
So
I think CGG, I think it's available.
Yeah. So most of data that we got, that I showed you on the slide, is available in the MDR. The only things that has not completely available in MDR is the Terpang 3D, which is located in the in a Bobara block. Yeah, it's only a portion of it is available in the MDR. So that the we need to work out with Migas or SKK Migas to get the data, the completeness of the data. But the rest of the 2D data are actually available in MDR. The another data that is also available but it's not accessible for us is the 3D data toward the Timor area, which is actually there is a multi-client data 3D acquired by PGS in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So because it is still under the marketing right of the PGS, so it was not available to us. So we didn't use that 3D, the multi-client 3D in the in sector 1, which is close to the boundary of between Indonesia and Timor-Leste. But the rest is available in the MDR.
So when is the Terpang 3D will be available in MDR then?
Should have been because the block already been relinquished, right? So you know we didn't get that Terpang 3D because it was still active under the West Papua Core operated by Repsol, so we didn't get the complete data from them. So now the block has already been relinquished. It's supposed to be that all data been returned to the government. Maybe it's not available in the Pushdatin yet. So we need to get help from the SKK Migas or Migas to get the data.
Okay, thank you. So it's
Yeah.
already officially 100% in MDR. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it is the whole thing.
So
I'm
that's not
if it is the
100% then.
Yeah. So the Terpang 3D, the Terpang 3D survey is over 4,000 square kilometers. But what we were able to access through Pushdatin is only about 2,000 square kilometers. So this is something that you need to check. All right, so let's move on. So again, that the if you look at on the blocks, so back to your question, Dr. Chin, currently active is this block, that block, and then the this block, the two pieces, North Arafura, and this one, and the rest are already been relinquished. Even the red color in here is already been relinquished. So majority of the area is actually available. Okay, so if you look at again, on the map here, as you see that the most of exploration activities been focused along the shelf, and also along the Akimaga, the shelf, the northern shelf of the Australian continent, which called now is the Akimaga area. And yesterday, Professor Mino has given the presentation around the area here. Maybe you are more familiar with the terminology of Warim area. We have Warim area is sitting in here. This is the old Warim block, was operated by ConocoPhillips here, but now it's open. And then 2 blocks, Akimagah 1 and Akimagah 2, is located around this area. Okay, next. So what is the plug concept that the in this area that become the basis for exploration next? So this is just a very simple summary of the proven exploration play in this area. Number one, starting from the youngest one, we call it as the myosin carbonate oil play. This is here. This is the myosin one, which is become the play for the Bobara block. Yeah, Bobara block play would be in the myosin carbonates. Second one is the myosin plastic gas play. This is where Abadi field is discovered. It's in the Jurassic and the Jurassic sandstone in here. So this is the second play. And then the third play is the Permo-Triassic, older than prime Permo-Triassic. So this is the Ordovician, the clastics that was the also the Permian, the sands that is proven in the Australian continents, but it's not proven in here in this area. The 2 key wells that penetrated the sediment older than Permo-Triassics, Aru number 1 and Merpati Putih, that you have seen before in the on the well cross section, penetrated this section here, and it turns out to be very tight. It's only about the less than 5%. I mean, the average is the in the order of 1 to 3% of rusted. So it's very tight, and this is the reason why that our evaluation is focusing on the section above the Permo-Triassic, and we ruled out the Permo-Triassic play or the Paleozoic play in our evaluation. So we only look at them here and here, and as you see here, this is the sector 1, 2, and 4, and sector 3 and 4 that were the play on the map. I'll show you on the map next. This is the carbonate play, and we'll talk about this more later. And this is Cikar 1, which is the a good well that we can use as the reference for the further evaluation on the myosin carbonate play. So this is the section combination between the 2D and 3D data. And then this is just a cartoon that shows you this is the water depth, and here it's around in the section here is around 2,000 to 3,000, and then this is the youngest sediments above the P3, the Pliocene, and this is the Pliocene section, and the carbonate is it's colored blue, and this is the section deeper than that. Unfortunately, because this is a very deep and complex area, the data only revealing down to the 6 seconds here, and then it doesn't penetrate or record any data, below 6 or 8 seconds. So this is a very deep. Next. So in the I showed you the carbonate play and now the clastic play, and this is a section of the clastic play, which is the span from the Jurassic. This is the purple color here is the Permo-Triassic, and so this is the Jurassic, and then Cretaceous, and also the Paleocene basin floor fan. See in here. So, but this is not in the Bobara block. This is in the sector 1 and 2, so that where the plastic plate is sitting. Next. So this is just a cartoon to show you the Paleocene basin floor fan. This is the Again, this is the Permo-Triassic, older than the Permo-Triassic, colored in purple. And above it is the clastic sand of the Jurassic, early Jurassic, mid Jurassic sands, which pins out there toward the Arafura platform. And then this is the transgressive of the Cretaceous shales, become the regional seal for the older Jurassic. And then above that, you can see there is a kind of the Paleocene, or what we call as the Paleocene. We don't know the age yet, but we constrained by the late Cretaceous horizon here, and also the Oligocene horizon there. So we assign this as we estimate that the time is the Paleocene, which is equivalent with what we saw in Induni. There is a Paleocene diet. So we believe that this is when the deposition of this interval here. And then this is just to give you a kind of a small cartoon of the distribution of the basin floor plan in this area. Abadi is in here. This is Abadi. This is where the basin floor plan is located. So this the clastic plate, and then the next one is the next slide. This is to show you where the Jurassic plate, basically where it's sitting. So this is a section from south to the north, starting from Troubadour, just to the north, and this is the accretionary prism there. And then see that this is the Permo-Triassic horizon is in purple, and you can see that Troubadour is penetrating Jurassic reservoirs. Here is proven, and then going down to the north before they reach the subduction of the collision area. Then this is where the opportunity is sitting along the structural track in the area. So those are the place, starting from the carbonate, the Miocene carbonate, and then go to Paleocene basin floor pan, and go to the deeper Jurassic plate. So if you look at on the map next, this is another one. What I call I mentioned before around Sindoro embayment. The Sindoro embayment is the embayment with if you look at on the collision trend is about the east-west in here, and then turns into the southwest northeast. So there is a kind of an embayment in here, and this is where the Abadi field is located. Sindoro one is trying to chase the stratigraphic trap of the thinning out. This is Sindoro, thins out of the Jurassic sand, but this is a trap failures. So there is no indication of hydrocarbon being seen in Sindoro. And this is the Abadi well sitting in the Abadi high. And the area here, which is this is the bonding faults that separated the Abadi high here, that the creating is kind of a thickening area along the embayment here. And we believe that the sediment here, in particular the Paleocene basin floor pan, which is sitting in this interval here, has been supplied from the Goulburn graben or Calder graben to the south. Yes, deposited there, and a lot of the opportunity that the in mapping detail of there, that seems that there is a potential trap. Apologies that this is actually a cartoon, no, because it's not grouped and it's mislocated. You see that there is a kind of a trap here. Is actually was aimed to show you the potential structure stratigraphic trap has been dislocated. So if you look at on here, this is the key of the opportunity here is the prograding sand up from the high, and then this is the bounding fault, which is trend about the northwest southeast here, and been reactivated due to the collision with the Eurasian plate, then creating a series of the strike slip system along this one here that could create a kind of a combination of the structural and stratigraphic trap in this area in the area called Sindoro embayment. Next. So on the map, yeah, you can see this is the Arafura Dome is basically nothing. Yeah, you can be ruled out the opportunity, exploration opportunity in this area. So the prospective area is basically sitting along the shelf, northwest, southwest, northeast, and also along the Akimaka Basin. And then the number one is the mycin carbonate. We see in general, this is the trend where the carbonate play that may work. Number two, the Palisson turbidite basin floor fan is in the area that I showed you before. This is the Abadi field, and this is the embayment. The Sindoro embayment is just only focused around this area here. And then the number three is the Cretaceous play. During the transgressive and also the short we call it the drop of the sea level and so on, that it may created some wedges of the stratigraphic wedges in a Jurassic section, and the number four here is where you can find the Jurassic plate. However, that in this area here, Jurassic may be very deep in the Aru Trough, but toward along the high of the accretionary prism, you may still find some Jurassic. Of course, that in terms of the complexity, structural complexity, this is very complex, but then it becomes less complex along this area. Next. So what is the potential of the sector 3? Sector 3 is where the Bobara block is located. Next. So again, this is the area that we're trying to look at. It's around the Aru Trough, the deep water here, where there is a Trepang 3D, there is a West Papua 4 3D, and there's also a little of the Wokam 3D that is available, and with some 2D data. Next. This is the post-drill analysis of the wells, all the wells here, and then been color coded. So the circle with the what do you call it? It's supposed to be orange. Orange color is well that targeting or TD in the tertiary, and the green color is TD in Mesozoic, and well that has the circle in a purple color is TD in Paleozoic. So you can identify, like say the one in here is 3D in the Mesozoic, and then the well it's like in the Merah Mutiara Putih here is TD in a Paleozoic, and these are mostly the wells in here are 3D and tertiary because those wells are chasing for the mycin carbonate as the exploration target. Next. So what is the play of the for the Bobara block, which is the mycin carbonates? I think that we should go next rather than starting from here. So this is the GDE that we try to generate. Yeah, the GDE from this well that have been generated, it's trying to discriminate between the carbonate, outer shelf, deep marine, carbonate platform and the carbonate inner shell or inner transition. So 3 different colors that we see in here. But Bobara block is sitting there, which is primarily sitting in the carbonate platform. So what you will see is this is the carbonate, and then green, it has been the porosity has been enhanced because of the exposures of this here during the late Miocene or early Pliocene time. So this is the well controls where the Miocene age of rocks that have been penetrated. Just shown here as an example. Next. And here is where the Arutrap is. So our concept is actually that this is the reservoirs in a blue color, and where's the source rock? The source rock is the Pliocene. So this is the classified equivalent source rock, which is being proven to be the source for the fields in the Salawati basins up in here. So we are taking the analog of here, and then put the Pliocenes of the source rock, which is being subjected into depth. That making this source rock is mature to generate hydrocarbon. And the 2 key wells as we use as a reference is a Chikar number 1 in here, and then the where is Pumara? Pumara is somewhere in here. It's not far from there, but Pumara is sitting further to the land. And then if you look at on the previous slide, see the previous slide, one more click, yeah. So this is the Arutrap, Aru Island in here. This is Arutrap, 3D data in there, and so what this is representing the bathymetry as the depth of there. But basically, this is the distribution of the source rocks, which is over this area here. And if we use that the analog to the Salawati Basin in here, Salawati Basin is primarily oil fields, oil profits. We use that this is the type of the source rock that you may find in here. And this is the pristine fitting distribution there. So it is an it's a very young, relatively young source rock potentials that have been subjected to the in the area during the last 5 million years ago. Next. So this is the can you go back? Yeah, yang tadi. Next. Here we go. So the way we think that the concept that we developed is this is previously is a restricted low. So this is that restricted low was generated, was formed during the proto Arutrap, if you will. Yeah. So the proto Arutrap is actually the extension that has been the fault blocks that was generated during the extension of the late Miocene there. So this is the colored blue is the carbonates, and then if you see that the carbonates, the horizon on the top of the carbonates is on there. That would suggest that it was exposed before the deposition of here, but then there's always a very rapid of the deposition of the young sediments above the Pliocene, the 3 million years ago. And what we think is during that the development of the fault blocks here, this is the area where the restricted lows was generated. And here, This is the onlap of the concentrations of the sediments just above it that been restricted in the loess areas here. So potentially, this is if you look at on during if you consider to the north is the collision between the Pacific plate and the Australian continent. So this is uplifted and become the source of sediment. It goes to here, but some of the area here may be under the influence of marine. So the area here could be a kind of a mix between the marine and terrestrial area. Yeah. So this is the lows where we think that could be with the high TOC concentration within that low itself. So why do we think that way? Next. I'll show you. This is the two reference. The two reference here is Cikar number 1 and Bumerah number 1. Yeah, Bumerah number 1 is actually a gas discovery. However, this is in Bumerah number 1 is, hang on, I think it's located somewhere in here. It's not somehow it's not plotted that map. So this is a discovery, a gas discovery with the DST test, but then it contains a high CO2. This is containing high CO2 in here. So say it was deemed as a gas discovery, non-commercial gas discovery because of the high CO2. It's in here, yeah. So it was drilled 2007 by KNOC. I'll show you later. And this is a Cikar 1. Cikar 1 that has been drilled and penetrated here. Both wells, they experience of technical difficulties during drilling. So lots of the problem during drillings that they didn't expect. But then therefore that the well did not penetrate it or did not achieve the target, original target of the well itself. Yeah. But again, this is the two key wells next. So this is Bumerah number 1. So it's penetrated. This is the top of reef, and this penetrated the reservoirs. Yeah. So it reached TD. It's about 3,000 meters. PNA as a non-commercial. It contains over 60% of the CO2. However, that the C1 to C5 was detected, and it tested gas in a TSD. Through TSD there. Yeah. So this is where the reference that been made is at the Bumerah number 1. Next. And number 2 is Cikar. Cikar was drilled in 2013. So this is it didn't penetrate the target, fully penetrate the target. It only penetrated the top portion of the reservoirs. You can see that this is the shows of the so this is the reservoir resistivity, rho P, and then this is the petrophysical analysis that indicates of the increasing gas penetration, shows along the penetrations, and that it shows that the hydrocarbon is there. Yeah, so it does penetrating the hydrocarbon, and then but it did successfully completed the well as planned. So if we look at again on the why that we got the hydrocarbons in here and in Cikar 1 and also in the Bumerah 1. Yeah. So that's there is some scenarios that the closest source rock that may support or may source or charge the the reservoirs is coming from the section of the interval here. Yeah. So this is not the perfect area for identifying the source rock at the Cikar-1 location, because the low itself is sitting to the south of the well. So we in our analysis, we suggest that the intervals, the Pliocene intervals, contain high organic content and then been subjected in a depth. So in the previous slide before, Maggie, next, yeah. So in our basin modeling, this is just a quick, simple basin modeling. So it suggests that with that depth and temperatures that been, experienced within this interval here, it seems that it's already generating the hydrocarbon to fill in the this is Cikar and this is the Boomerang is up in here. So that's what we think, that it is the closest source rock that could charge the mycin carbonates. The older source rock, the potentials, because it is very deep, may already become the kind of a dry gas, which is may not filled in this area, but it's been migrated out of the Aru Trough. So these are, if you see that in our modeling, we put all the leads been mapped in here, and seems that it has the capacity to charge all of the leads that been mapped and identified based on existing data. Next. Next. So this is just an example of the section. Are the leads that we mapped. Bobara area is, I believe, that somewhere in here. Yeah. So because we, when we did this evaluation, we don't know the boundary of the Bobara area yet. So Bobara area, I believe that Bobara area is somewhere in here. If you plot it, and this is the two lines, just to give you ideas. Line number 1 in here go through Cikar. Be projected in this one. So this is the top of the reservoir. This is top of the reservoir is over here, the top of the carbonates. This is the base of carbonates, and we believe that the source rock was deposited up in here. This is what we call this the restricted low areas before the deposition of the mass transport complex. During the optimum development of the Aru Trough. And this is line number 2 that goes across these leads in here. This is the leads I, this is the leads D. Again, this is the top of carbonate in here. Yeah, and then this is the P3 that just to separate between the mass transport complex and the youngest sediments entering the Aru Trough from the section below. Next. So this is the leads that have been mapped, a combination of between 2D and 3D. So there are 10 leads that have been identified. Again, this is the section A to A prime goes to here. So this is the deepest part is represented by this green area, and this is the leads of lead D in here, and then this is the lead of the starting from here to there. Yeah, you can see that the most or the fault bonded leads at the mycin carbonates, and this is the lead the line P to P prime starting from the big one that we identified in here. This is this is the water depth, and this is the interval above it. And above the green is this is the mass transport complex that we believe also. So the source rock could act also as the seal for the mycin carbonate itself. Next, we did some CRS and CCRS around here. So this is the reservoir CRS. Basically, it's green, but then on the reservoir quality, we believe that along the low area here is quality is less. Seal maybe only in this area that because it is exposed, and this is the source rock primarily in this area here. This is the high. There is no source effectiveness, and if we combine between presence and effectiveness, then we got the three colors. So if we put on the prospectivity or lead maps next, then actually that our leads is sitting in the yellow color. It's only few leads that sitting in the red color. This one here, which is sitting in a very deep location. So this is the leads, and these are the water depth. So water depth is between 900 to 1800. The deepest one, the 3000 and so on. We think this is the kind of a red color. And this is the resources that the potential recoverable resource that may been contained within the of each of the leads. Next. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Pak Suryo, for your presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, you may raise your hand, mention your name and what institution you're from. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Pak Suryo, for the very nice presentation. I'm Buddy from Conrad. I have two questions, two simple questions. So the first one is, if you look at Bumrah well, so they have DST and they have gas there, but the CO2 content is very high. Do high CO2 content can be detected in other wells in the surrounding areas? That's the first one. And second one is, so we have a lot of 2D and 3D data there. The 3D data covering tens of thousands of kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. So why did the previous operators relinquish the area? What did they, potentially did not see maybe back then? Thank you.
So number one on the Bumrah, this is the Bumrah is the anomaly. That the only in that well that they contain very high CO2. The further investigation with the data and so on, it suggests that there is a combination between the CO2 coming from the carbonate itself, but also because if you look at that, it located close to the Harera-Iduna fault, major fault, there is some contribution from the mantle source. Yeah, so that that could be the why only Bumrah that has the very high CO2. We don't see high CO2 on the other wells. And number two, that it does covered by the at least around maybe around 6,000, 7,000 square kilometers 3D data. It depends on the strategy of the company itself. Yeah. So if you look at on the previous operators, West Papua 4 was operated by a certain company and then transferred to other company and then transferred to other company again and so on, and different company has a different strategy. So therefore that the maybe number one strategy doesn't fit with the deep water, carbonate reservoirs, and then number two is the number three maybe that it's remote. So it seems that the development could be a challenge. However, that we did some exercise in terms of the developability. It could be developed, but it has to be in a good terms. And when we already, suggested to the government to give good terms, otherwise it would not be able to be commercially developed because it is cheap, and also that the resource or the productivity itself could be a challenge. So again, that it depends on the operatorship, operator itself, and also the fiscal terms that being offered by the government.
Okay, thank you. Is there another question to Pak? Okay. Berikutnya ya, Pak.
On. It's not on yet.
Pak Suryo, my name is Andi Mardianza. I'm from Pertamina Hulu Energi. In this area, Bobara offshore Aru, it seemed that the migration mechanism predominantly lateral migrations. So how about the quality of the carrier bedrock in this area? Yeah, to become oil and gas can migrate easily from kitchen to the reservoir. And how about the behavior of fault in this area? So if the fault is leaking, is so as to prevent hydrocarbon migration, and if more sealing, so the oil and gas can migrate to surface. So how about the fault? Maybe it seems faults can be erased in this area.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Buddy. So you know, the migration is very short distance, because if you can you go back to the slides? Yang ujung belakang. Naik. Atas. Atas. Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah. So if you look at on here, just to give you an illustration, so that you have the leads in here, you get the kitchen next to it. Yeah, you get next to each other, which is the you know, it doesn't need to travel long way. Yeah, and secondly, if you look at on the structural trends here, it's trending that way. Yeah, it's trending in one way. So the migration could goes from this nose here or that nose there, entering to the leads or to the traps. So we suppose we assume that this is a kind of a seal, you know, the trapping mechanism, because it is, you know, to the top, if the faults doesn't intersect the mass transport complex. Yeah, so it is covered completely by mass transport complex, and then the we assume that this is kind of a sealing fault that could define the trap itself. Does it help, Party?
So if we assume that the near kitchen has attractive maturity, so so that we can get the short distance migration. So based on your explanation before, we need to find the low structure to get the more kitchen area more mature. So we need to go certain part to get the deeper area as a kitchen.
Yeah. So the
Or
The maturity is basically also controlled by what you call it, the seabed, because the temperature, it does not reach the temperatures along with the seabed here. So it's not necessarily to be concentrated in here, but it's also distributed over this area as well.
All right, Pak.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Surya.
Okay, next question, please.
Hello, sorry, my name is Jing from Sinopec. My first question is about the source kitchen. I remember you have mentioned the analog of the source kitchen by Wadji, right?
Yes. Salawati.
As well, in the south, there's a gas field, a giant gas field, Abadi. So I remember also there's one slice in the south, the source kitchen is nearby the trough, right? Nearby the trough. As well, in this area, also we have trough. Can we understand the source kitchen will distribute along the trough from the south to the north?
Yeah. So actually we are looking at the different stratigraphic. Yeah, different stratigraphic. Itu ke atas. Enggak, yang di atasnya. Ke bawah lagi. So for Abadi field, we are looking at the interval down in here. Yeah. So this is what we call as a Jurassic. In the Bobara area, we are looking at the interval up in here, which is in the carbonates. Yeah. So the assumption for the, yes, you're right, that the kitchen may be developed somewhere here, which is migrated up to fill in the Abadi field and so on. Or there is also Calder Graben that they have been responsible for the maturity of the source rock to charge the Abadi field. This is not the Abadi field, but this is equivalent to the Abadi field, if you will. And then for the so the how do I coba ke atas, Mas, to make it easier for you to understand the setting. Next, ke atas lagi. Okay, yang tadi. So Abadi field is located in here, and stratigraphically it's much older, right? And we believe that the Abadi field has been charted by what we call as the Calder Graben, and also some contribution from the north that migrated to here. While in here, it's actually the kitchen is within the trough itself. So it doesn't come from potential kitchen along the collision or underneath the accretionary prism. But for the arid trough, we believe that the kitchen is inside of the arid trough. So the migration is within the trough itself. Yeah. So it's a different of the migration story between Abadi and the Bobara block.
Is there any analog about the kitchen source between the Aru area and the Tanggu area?
Yeah.
Because it's nearby, right?
Yeah, the nearby is the Salawati up in here. So that the in terms of the charge of the source rock is about the same age of this, yeah, and it's charged of the fields in here at the carbonates, the same age carbonates reservoir. Yeah, so it's proven over 300 million of the oil has been discovered in here. Yeah. So this is this is the closest area that we can take as the analog for this one here, which is, look at it, it's not too far from the Bopara block.
Okay. Thank you. My next question is, from the last slide, so we can see this area is a high risk or very high risk area. But from the announcement, the block, it seems the split, high risk and very high risk. The oil split is, for example, the high risk is 16, 14. For the gas is 55, 45. I remember for the Agung, the split for the contractors is around 18%, 80%, 80.
80
So
for contractors.
yeah. So I want to know, for the first page,
Yeah,
is after tax or pre-tax?
I think this is pre-tax.
This-
Sorry, post-tax. After
Post-tax.
After
Okay.
tax, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
So if you break down, correct me if I'm wrong. If you break down, then the pre-tax may be in the order of 70-30 or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So 70% for contractors and 30% for government. Yeah, I think it's around that number. Yeah, but then because it is you put tax in it, and then so it's lumped together with the entitlement of the government and tax. Therefore, that the government will get a bigger portion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that to say, for this area, the risk is less than the Agung, right?
It's different play.
Different. Okay.
It's a different play, different geology. The risk, but just to give you the a comparison, I think it's about similar. Yeah, it's a similar risk. Yeah, but then the question is again, and I don't want to comment anything about Agung.
Okay. Yeah.
But then again, that this is the young age source rock, right? But in our model, it suggests it is mature. In Agung, it is an older source rock. Yeah. So it's different age of the geologic system that we are looking at between here and Agung.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for more information, Pak, this Bobara is we valued this block with the same risk with the Agung. It's same we give this very high risk split. Yeah. So for the gas you will get 50-50 for the after tax, and for the oil is 55-45. So Agung also 45-55 and after 50-50. So this is the same very high risk level for the offering. Yeah.
What is the split before tax?
Perhaps Pak Adian, for the tax is about 37.6. So I think for the pre-tax for the gas, it can be 80%, I think.
80-20.
Yeah.
Okay. So 80-20 at the favor of contractors. Yeah. That's.
Pardon? Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
around that, yes.
I believe so in that kind of a bulk number.
Yes, and
Uh,
for the
ballpark.
for the post tax is 50-50 for the gas.
Oke, thank you. Pak Surya, ada pertanyaan di online. Coba kita baca bersama. Dari Pak Hitler, dari PHE, on the fairway map, page 27, why is this basin floor plan play only in the area number 2? Can you explain it more clearly? Okay, please,
Yeah.
Pak Surya.
Well, actually, my presentation today is more focused on Bobara. So I didn't really give the presentation and the sector 2 on the basin floor fan. So my presentation today is focused here for the Bobara area. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak Suryo. Okay, is anyone have another question to Pak Suryo?
Online ada lagi? Nggak ada. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Hopefully it helps. And it is it's a rare opportunity to see the area in here, but the key wells, Cikarwan and Bumerawan, could be a hint to be used as the reference for exploring this area. You can do your evaluation in a more details with the existing data that is available. Hopefully that the 3D data is complete and it's available in a full set, which it wasn't at the full set when we did the evaluation here. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Suryo. Before closing, Mr. Hotma would like to add some information.
Okay, thank you, Pak Farhan. From the government side, we would like to appreciate for the ministerial team for the team 9. We can see, I think most of the member of the team 9 already present here. We have Pak Suryo, Pak Herman Darman, Pak Lili, Pak Alit, Pak Sony, and also Prof. Mino. Thank you for attend for this business forum. Yeah, already said before that Bobara is come from 2 blocks, previously known as Aru and also West Papua 4. And both of this block terminated just end of this July. So all the data is on the catalog listing process in the SKK Migas. And for the data project and also the report from the resulted of the evaluation conducted by the ministerial team already delivered to the Pusdatin, and we will provide all the data in this bidding round. For the 3D Trepang, we get information from the Pusdatin. We already provide this 3D data with the size around 3,900 kilometers square. We provide this all data in the data package, and data package is free for the non-member of MDR. For the member of MDR, we provide with no limitation data. So all the data that already result from the Repsol activities previous contractors, we will provide to support all the evaluation conducted by the investor who wants to invest in this area. So the duration of the bidding round is about 2 months. We provide the attractive fiscal terms with no minimum signature bonus. And also we provide the very high risk split. I already said before that for the oil, we will give 50-45, 55-45, and for the gas, 50-50. So we would like to invite all the investors that attending this meeting to evaluate this area and to submit on the end of the date of the bidding process. And if you have any questions for the further information, you can contact us for the email and also for the telephone number that already we stated in the booklet. So for the closing, for one more time, we want to say thank you for Pak Suryo to deliver this presentation. We hope that this area become an active area again, and we can support for the 1 million barrel oil per day as our national target for the oil productions. Thank you for your attention and keep healthy and see you in the next bidding round. Thank you.